Welcome back, everyone. I'm Crane Bramp, your old Brainiacs, and this is episode 1 of our mini-play of Judgment, Apocalypse Survival Simulation. The world has been overrun by demons, and it's up to us to build a thriving colony and protect it from the demon hordes. So, mini-plays are short 3-episode Let's Plays of some of the indie games that I really love playing. And if you like this series, then like and comment, and if there's enough interest, then we'll morph it into a full series. So, settle in, grab your occult library, and let's survive the demon hordes. Before we get into the story of Judgment, we're going to need to create a game and then set up a group of survivalists. So we're just going to hit new game. I'm going to keep it at challenging, which is the base difficulty. We're going to run a vanilla mode. And you can randomize your map seed. You can type it in or you can hit it. I'm just going to hit this a couple of times. Here is an easy map seed. This is the one that we're going to use. I'm going to hit show tutorials because they're small and unobtrusive, and they'll help you guys out to remind me to tell you things. And then we're going to hit start, and you're going to get 3 colonists, kind of similar to RimWorld, just not quite as in depth. Each one of these can have from 1 to 3 of these perks. There's also professions that can come up that are things like police officer. They're almost like mini classes. So usually I found out that the best thing to have is kind of like one person who can do some occult, one person who can do some gardening, and then another person who can do some research, and you're going to need somebody into the occult, and then somebody that can fight. So you just kind of roll around, kind of like you do on RimWorld sometimes, with prepare carefully until you find something that works and isn't too bad. So let me go on and roll around and find something, and I'll be right back with you. All right, I rolled around and got us what I think are 3 decent ones, and they're also kind of interesting. We have Kenny, who's the samurai. He is a Ronin. So this is one of those classes. He can equip rare nature weapons. He's got some different abilities. He can equip dark weapons. He gets damage bonuses, work speed bonuses. However, he's a smoker to kind of balance a little bit of that off. And then we have Clever. He's got occult research speed, crafting and research speed plus 30. And he is a weirdo with access to rare occult weapons and gets some bonuses with dark weapons. Then we have our Defender, who is SWAT. She has armor plus 10, cover plus 15. She also is clever and nimble. And then we have Arya, who is a gun enthusiast, who is nimble, and who is a physician. So I think we've got a pretty good starting crew. Let's go on and jump right in.
It was one of your monthly camping trips, escaping the daily routine, drinking beers and telling jokes. All of a sudden, 2 terrified hunters come running out of the dark, screaming at you to hide. You hear loud growling noises from the woods behind them. Out of the trees appears the creature, a beast like nothing you've ever seen before, straight out of a horror tale. It catches up with the hunters, and they turn to fight. The strange creatures lie dead. What were those things? They look like demons straight out of a horror film. But it's not over. You hear more growling sounds from the dark woods. More of the menacing creatures come swarming into the clearing. The hunters are surrounded and yell at you to run. You waste no time and do as they say. You climb a small hill that affords a clear view of the nearby town. It is already burning. You can hear the sound of growling and panicked screams carried across the wind. The creatures are everywhere. Going back is not an option. You decide to move away from the town, deeper into the woods. You find a remote clearing where you decide to regroup and try to figure out what just happened.
Well, we've definitely been thrown right into the thick of it, haven't we? But that's usually the way it is. So, a quick disclaimer, between those 2 cutscenes, there are 3 little tutorial battles. However, they're with characters that aren't yours, and also characters that can't even die. Even if you just stand there and do nothing, you win the battles. It's really kind of cheesy tutorials, so I figured we'd just learn by doing. So let's get started. So the first thing is shelter. You need a rest now, as your fight from those things has left you bruised and exhausted. You seem to be safe for now, but you can still hear the occasional explosions from the town that you left behind. You are happy, in a terrified sort of way, to have survived the attack. It will certainly be just a matter of time until the government calls in the bombers and takes care of the creatures. Yeah, that's what everybody thinks. But in the meantime, it is still too dangerous to think about going back to town, and you will need to fend for yourselves in the wood for a while. There are less than a handful of you still alive, and your group will need to build some sort of shelter to have any chance of surviving until you're rescued. So, build a log cabin, a well, a food table, and a bed. So basically, we need some place to shelter, some food, some water, and some place to rest. And by the way, these are like the core things. If you run out of these, then stuff just stops working. If you run out of water, everybody dies of dehydration. If you run out of food, everybody starves to death really quickly, by the way. And if you don't have a bed, then they just get so tired that they can't function. So you definitely need these base things. So this is a real-time survival game. I'll cover all the tasks and everything else. You can see that we have a time up here. I'm going to go on and hit the space bar to pause it. Your characters will sit here and do absolutely nothing unless you tell them to. So you're going to need to get moving. So this is your initial map. Depending on the seed, you can have more or less woods. I've had this with just like a little bit of wood here and there, and you need a lot of wood. So if for some reason you pull up a map and there's not at least, you know, a decent amount of wood on the map, then I would suggest re-rolling, because you're just not going to make it. All right, so let's get going. The first thing that we need to do, now you got a bunch of stuff up here. You have missions that you need to do. This is right now is build our log cabin, our well, our food table, and our bed, of course. Then we have a base inventory, which is everything that you have currently inside your base. Right now we have water. We have a little bit of logs, which we're going to need to mine some. We have a little bit of stone and some base food to get started so that we don't starve. Then you can also create tasks like chop trees or search debris or mine or quarry, cancel tasks. You can even destroy items. Like if I just wanted to remove this tree right here, I could click on it, hit destroy, but the only thing is all your resources are lost, and resources are finite on these maps. So I would highly suggest not destroying anything unless there's a really good need for it. Finally, there is research in the game with research trees. So research allows you to unlock new building and crafting options. There are several research categories you can choose from. Unlocking research costs research points that are produced by survivors experimenting in the occult table or the occult library. If you research at the experiment table, you get research points. If you research at the occult library, then you get occult points, which you then spend in a tech tree for that. Some key research subjects require special research materials or research kits, which can be obtained in scavenge missions. These are very common in city biomes. So research materials and research kit. And we'll cover the world map and all that other stuff here in a bit. But here are your tech trees. There's plenty. There's base, there's craft, there's weapons, there's occult, there's rituals. Feel free to pause those and take a look at all of them. You also have crafting. Survivors can craft advanced materials, food, and equipment. Items are crafted in workstations such as the workbench. That's partially true. You can also make a few base things just by yourself, like clubs, arrows, and stuff like that. But for most everything, you're going to need your table. And then finally, you have, before we get off this, I'll explain all of the UI. You have a mini map here. Obviously, this is just, here's your survivors. You know how a mini map works. And then finally, you have your most important inventory up here. You have your food, your drinking water, your scraps, which we'll cover here in a minute, your research points, and your occult research. And then, of course, you have your menu with all your settings and everything. Then finally down here is an awareness meter. And you're going to pick up a number of awareness points per day, depending on how many colonists you have and also how much you've developed the map where you're living. So basically, you know, the bigger base you build, the more people you get, the more awareness you attract. And then once this hits 100, then the demons, an alert will come up. It'll give you like 180 seconds to prepare. and the demons will attack your camp, and you're going to have to defend your camp, or they will completely destroy it and kill you. You know, just the standard demon douchebaggery. So this is the world map. You will notice different locations on it: a farm, a base, a city, etc. You also see missions and special map events pinned to the map. Survivors form task forces. You can have more than one. To explore and interact with the map, to create the task, you click the Create Task Force button to create one. Once created, you can select a task force and give it orders by right-clicking the map. Click the Manage button for more information on managing task forces. Biomes. Your base is surrounded by grassland, but farther away there are other biomes. Different biomes have different scavenger opportunities. Beware, some biomes have tougher demons that you wouldn't want to encounter unprepared. Enemies also get tougher when you wander farther away from your base. So it's basically the same type of, the farther away you move from spawn, the worse it gets. And this is a pretty big map. So you have all kinds of stuff. You can click on these locations. For example, this is a farm. Here's the enemies that are going to be there, and here's what kind of loot you're going to get. And you're also going to have special events like survivors that you need to help that will join your settlement and so on. The first thing that we're going to want to do is create some tasks to chop some trees. Now, trees will get in the way of you trying to build in a location, so you might as well go on and clear some of this out. So I'm going to select these trees right here, and it's just going to keep popping up small tutorials for the moment. Now, I can either do that by creating tasks, or I can select an individual tree and just say chop tree. So however you want to do it, if you need to do it en masse, you can do it with the Create Tasks button. Otherwise, you can simply just select each one. We're also going to want to select this rubble over here. There's quite a few things that you're going to see on the map. You're going to see locations that allow you to scrap for medicine and rubble. They're old camps. There's going to be rock, and there's also going to be clay, which is over here. And there are metal nodes, basically iron. And once we build a furnace and get to where we can process iron, then we can also start unlocking that. So let's go on and make a search for our scraps and medicine. That is, you start with 0 and you're going to have some. So let's unpause that and go ×2 speed. We're going to let these guys mine just a little bit and gather some wood, because we're going to have enough. We're going to need enough wood to do a large cabin. So you're going to use the build button to build objects like your log cabin and your food table and stuff like that. There are 2 different size log cabins. This one right here takes 15 wood and gives you 2x2 usable slots. This one right here gives you 3x2 usable slots. So I'm going to go on and put it down. There does have to be a clear space. And then we are also going to make a well. I'm going to put that right here by the entrance. And we are also going to need a bed and a food table. So we're going to select here. I'm going to hit quarry stone just so that we can have some stone going also. And then I'm going to speed this up a little bit. And I'll be right back with you. All right, these guys are going pretty good. Let's get our experiment table out so that we can start getting our research points done. You see that somebody's going to immediately start, and you're going to see these little beakers come up, which are your research points. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to get some farming up and going. So we're going to open our research. We're going to go over here to base, and we're going to look, and crafting costs 5. So we've already got 11, so we're going to go on and spend that. It's going to give us a task next to build 2 vegetable farms. So we are going to do that. Takes 65 wood and stone. So you can see why I've selected wood and stone to begin with. All right, so both of our farms are built. Obviously, I sped it up just a little bit. The next thing that we need to do is arm ourselves, because they are going to send us some test combat, and eventually our awareness meter is going to rise to the point that we are going to start attracting our own attacks. It wants us to craft 3 clubs. We do not need a table to do this yet, so we can just go to crafting and click 1, 2, 3. It takes 2 wood per. And once, as I said, as soon as you get the clubs built, they're going to attack. So none of you thought you were free of the demons, and in fact, a small demon is wandering nearby and has noticed your camp. Your group must prepare to defend yourselves as best you can, and be ready to fight your aggressors hand to hand with your rough clubs. Defend your base. Alright, so we've gotten a notification that we have an incoming attack. It's giving you time to prepare. The enemies are almost upon you. Prepare your survivors. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to pause, and we're just going to go down here and pull up our guys, our characters, and you can simply assign weapons and armor and equipment by clicking on these tabs and then just selecting the equipment that they're going to use. So we're going to go through each one of these guys. We're going to assign them a weapon because we did make 3 clubs. Our next thing that we're going to need to worry about is armor, by the way. And then we're just going to carry on because there's pretty much nothing that we can do until they get here. So don't wig out other than just making sure that your colonists are kind of around the camp together and that that everybody's got weapons and armor and you got the equipment on that you want. So, and even if you don't prepare, it's still going to give you the option and make sure that it's approved. So this is approved. Combat. In combat, survivors are controlled directly. Survivors attack enemies within their range, but do not move or chase enemies unless instructed to do so. Left-click survivors or their portraits to select them. Once selected, right-click to order them to move or attack. Hold the left control key when right-clicking an empty tile to order survivors to attack move. They will move towards that tile, but stop to attack any enemy that enters their weapon's range. Remember that orders can be given while paused. Spacebar quickly pauses and unpauses the game. You can also simply drag and select all of your characters at one time and move them as a group. That's also an option. In this instance, it is like the best option because this is just a simple minor demon. So all we're going to do is make sure that we're together. Or semi-together, since the guy's going to go on and looks like, yep. He's going to do his little range thing, so we're just going to run up here with our clubs, and we're going to beat him to death. It really does not take much to take out one of these little fire imps. So when we finish, you get a basic combat review screen showing how much experience everybody got. People actually have to take part in the combat and either damage or kill demons to actually get experience points. You see that Arya didn't make it over there in time. And then we get a piece of sulfur, which is a component that's used in occult rituals. And finally, we get a kill summary down at the bottom showing everything that we killed. Learning that you can fight back successfully against demons has raised your spirits a bit. But it has been a while since their appearance, and no military effort to rescue survivors has yet materialized. Imagine that. The government has not come to their rescue. The realization that you may not be rescued at all is difficult to digest. Perhaps you yourselves will need to lead a militia of all the survivors to fight against the demon horde. You must prepare. Scattered around this area, there seem to be a few points of interest that could be valuable sources of materials. You're tempted to push some exploratory expeditions a bit further away from the settlement. Demons pass often through these woods, so any expedition should be well armed. Scavenge a nearby location is our next job. So before we do that, like I said, we need to do armor, and I would like to get a few additional items up under our belt. Notice that once he's dead, these guys aren't like quote-unquote drafted like they would be in RimWorld or anything. They can actually go back about their stuff. So let's mark a couple of more locations that are really close to go on and start marking out for scraps. Let's make sure that we've got stone going, and let's make sure that we've got clay going because we're going to need all of that. We're also probably going to need some more wood to make another base. We've got 54. Probably want to like clear out in here, and it looks like we need to get those 2 trees, probably just those 2 trees right there out of the way. So let's go and do a task. These are already, let's do right there, and then let's clear out this area right here so that we've got some space by the base. All right, guys, so what are we doing on research? We are doing it on 65. Let's check our research real quick. I would like to get woodworking running because boards is one of the next things that you need to do. But that said, I would also like to get into bow making. So I think it's more important for us to get into bow making first, then we'll go to woodworking. So I'm going to do bow making right now. And as soon as we get 30, we're going to unlock woodworking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up and I'll be right back with you as soon as we have 30. All right, you may be wondering, well, he said he was going to go to 30 and he's at 50 something. Why did he do that? Well, because I remembered that there's actually a couple of things that we want. So we are going to get woodworking. This opens up the training area, the sawmill, which allows us to make boards. The plant, of course, boards, the quarterstaff, and a wooden shield. So we're going to open that up for 30, and then we're going to go over here and look at patchwork, which costs 20, and it gives us our opportunity to make our first armor, which is our reinforced outfit. So we're going to go on and get that, and that gives us an ability to jump into kind of tier 2 stuff, which is where you need boards, where you have to collect one resource and then process that resource to create something else. That's our sawmill. And we also get the opportunity to outfit ourselves with a little bit of armor before we go out on this quest that we're going to go on. So we definitely need to go to crafting. This is going to take 20 scraps per, so we're going to need 60 scraps, but we're also going to need a workbench. It's time to just build a workbench. We need 8 wood and 6 stones. Again, this is why I've been building this, but you'll notice that I really have no place to put it inside, so we're going to have to build another log cabin. I don't know if this is, if there's enough space here yet. No, this whole area right there's got to go. Now you can force assign people to certain tasks. For example, I can grab Deborah over here and then assign her to chop trees. I can do the same with Arya. And I can do the same with Kenny, and we can see if we can get these trees out of here. So I'm going to fast forward this just a little bit to see if we can get enough space cleared out to drop this log cabin down. All right, so one note about the AI, you can force them. We still need those 2 trees right there. You can assign them to items, but there are things like rest, tending to vital resources like food and stuff that you just cannot force them through. So you're going to have to remember that. Let's see if this got us enough room to put this down now. There we go. Finally, we have got that, and Kenny will start building it. So let's speed up a little bit. Let's get that built. We'll put down the the workbench, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so we are almost done with our workbench. I also grabbed Arya and force assigned her down here to scrap because we need 60 scrap to make our reinforced outfits. So every once in a while, you will run into scouting parties, and basically these are groups of demons. They will get more powerful as time goes on, that roam the map, basically scouting, looking for bases of survivors. If you can kill the scouting party, it reduces the enemy awareness while, basically killing them and getting rid of them. So we do have a scouting party on the map. We will need to go check, and there it is right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this on the base, and we're going to create task force. And we are going to grab Why don't we grab our 2 best combat characters? We will approve that. These guys are now a task force. They can still sit at the base and do things. They're just a group of survivors that you can send out on the map if you want to. So we're just going to select them. We're going to ask them to go over there and attack them. They're going to move across the map, and then we are going to have a small combat. Since this is a very early scouting squad, this is liable to be just maybe 1 or 2. You have everything in combat, such as cover. You have ranged and melee. You have flanking, and you have health. So there is definitely a little bit of work to this. Usually the way it works is you have a spot where you come in on the map that is named retreat, and you will do whatever you need to do on the map. And then once that's completed, there will be this icon up here will change to a door, a partially open door, and it's called retreat, and you hit it and your character tries to make it off the map. There may be demons that try to stop you, but basically they make it back over here to the retreat area and get off the map. But all the maps start shrouded in a fog of war, so we're going to go on and hit this at ×2 speed, and we are going to look around and see if we can find this. Oh boy, we got like a whole little horde of them. A little bit more than I was expecting, but we'll go on and take them down. Yeah, buddy. Oh, boy. Arya is getting the crud beat out of her by that minor demon. All right, guys. Come on. Come on. Kill him. Kill him. They will not attack unless you tell them to. Now, Arya got beat up a little bit, probably because I wasn't using, like, fantastic tactics. But to be honest, I really wasn't expecting it to be 3. It's usually just 1. So we just hit retreat. We've already killed all the enemies on the map, so it didn't make us run to it. And we get 4 sulfur, and we killed a fire imp, a minor demon, and another fire imp. Now, we can just head back to base, but since we're out here, I'd like to kind of see what we got on the way back. Like, what are these? Ooh, that's a lot of enemies. That's not too bad. It's only 2. That's only 1. And that's only 2. So I tell you what, why don't we go right here? We'll reselect the Concords, and we will send them over here to scavenge. So let me speed this up really quick. So basically, when you scavenge one of these locations, if your party is powerful enough and you outrank the demons, then you get an opportunity to auto resolve the conflict. And I find that that works really good for the weaker demons, but man, when you get on up there, auto resolve is not the way to go. So we're just going to auto resolve this. There you go. They are dead. Your characters take a little bit of damage if there is any to take, and then you get whatever out of it. All right, supplies are important, but you should also consider adding more survivors to your group. Don't forget that a larger group will have more mouths to feed. Make sure you produce enough food and water. So the next thing is to get 4 survivors. So, and of course, they immediately throw assistance needed at you. Really, to tell you the truth, I don't know if we'll check it out here in a minute, but I want to check this one out because there's only like 1 imp right here, and we can just auto resolve this. And boom. See, he took a little bit of damage, but we got our loot. We got 26 drinking water and 13 vegetables, which is some good squishy. So where is the... I don't know that I really want to go down here this early, but... You know, it's up, and I will tell you this. It will keep bugging you until you go rescue somebody. They're going to keep throwing them up. So also, you just saw that there was a level up. That means one of our characters has leveled up. I would have to go back to the base, pull up their character portrait, and then spend the skill point. So I want to go on and do this rescue real quick just to show you how this works. So it's the same way that you enter a normal map, except instead of looking for somebody to fight, which there's always going to be demons protecting them, you're looking for a cage with the survivor in it. And then when you get there, you're going to need to click the survivor's cage with one of your characters. He's going to unlock the cage, which is going to take time and attract demons. So your other character is going to have to protect him while all that's going on. All right, so that is the top of the map. So we'll just keep coming down this way. And here is our survivor right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Arya out here. And then actually Kenny has the samurai. So let's send her over there. And then let's just like park Kenny out here in the middle of the intersection to watch for her. And here comes the first demon. So we will go on and get Kenny out there to meet him and protect her. If she stops or if she is hurt or definitely if she is killed, the whole unlocking process has to start again. So we need to stand here and protect her. We get 1, maybe 2 waves at the first, but you can definitely get steady waves as you go up in level. Man, Kenny is just about dead. And both of these guys have level ups, but we can't do it right now. So we're just going to select these and tell them to retreat. Hopefully they get off the map without having to do anything else, because I've just about killed Kenny. Kenny, you killed Kenny. But that would definitely not be the good first thing on our first episode to say, oh, well, this is the way you kill a colonist. But anyway, we get the same loot screen. We get 4 sulfur, and we had those 2 minor demons, one of them that almost completely kicked Kenny's butt. Investigating the apocalypse. So demonology and the occult are now subjects of great interest to this little group. Who are these attackers, and why are they here? Is there some effective action or some defense against this otherworldly swarm? Although you may have been skeptics until recently, the group is now of the general opinion that occult knowledge might just hold the key to stopping this demon-filled nightmare. Build an occult library and research demon origins. All right, guys, so let's get everybody back. Let's get the Concords back to the base. Take a look and see where we're at. Maybe get some armor made and some weapons made for everybody. You know what? We do... You know, Kenny has actually healed up some. What do we got here? I wouldn't mind making a raid for some arrows, but that's more enemies than I want to fight right there. That's more enemies than I want to fight, but there's only 2 enemies here. So let's go on and make a diversion and go scavenge up here, and then we'll head home. We might as well do the easy stuff around the base the first day, or the first episode. So notice that even though the survivor is added, until we get back to the base, she won't actually be a part of our combat. So I'm just going to go on and auto-resolve this again. And there we go. We got 14 scrap, we got 7 clay, we got those 2 sulfur, and we killed 2 fire imps. Now let's head home. There we go, and we got some level ups. Now that we are back at the base, we're going to do our level ups real quick. Kenny, who is our combat character, your characters will have access to 2 skills early on, and then as stuff goes up, you can get access to everything else. But it shows your skill effects and stuff over here. This guy is our Ronin, our Smoking. He's clever, so he does research, but primarily he is our melee combat guy. So I think for him, the best thing right now would be evasion. We have a choice of evasion or patrolling, or we have a option down here to either patrolling again or movement speed plus 10%. For him, I think evasion is gonna be the big thing. So that's what we're gonna take for him. For Arya, she is a gun enthusiast, nimble, and she is our physician. I do need to remember that. She has an AoE heal ability. But you'll notice that she has pistols and rifles, which gives her an accuracy, and there is a marksmanship over here. There's also stalwart, which is natural healing rate plus 50 and max health plus 5. I think for her, I want to go marksmanship. So we're going to go marksmanship. So the next thing I want to do before we get out of here is make sure that we've got our armor done. So these take 20 scraps. So we've got 4 people now. So we're going to do 4 of those. Also, we're going to need to do some arrows because I want to do compound bows. So we've got at least, I want to make like 3 ranged and 1 melee. So we're going to need 6 arrows to make a compound bow. That means I'm going to need 24 arrows, and the arrows take 6 wood. That is a lot. So we're not going to do it right now. We'll do our first one, and then once that's done, we'll be able to put a bow on it. Then we'll go on and get our club. And yeah, so now we're going to have armor. We're going to have at least one person with a decent bow. We're going to have everybody outfitted with clubs. All right, all of our armor is done. All of our arrows are done, so we can make our compound bow. So while he works on this compound bow, we're going to set everybody up with their armor. So we'll start with Kenny. We'll put him a reinforced outfit on. Deborah, we'll get her one. Arya, same thing. And Betty, we will grab you. And also you, dear, are going to need a club. So let's take a look really quick and see who has got the best range that we can stick on with this bow. Looking through here, nobody really has ranged bonuses with a bow. We have somebody with pistols and with pistols and rifles. However, checking Betty out, she has melee damage minus 50%. So I can't see any reason that we would have her with a club, so I'm going to put her on a bow. We have 4 colonists now. Everybody is outfitted with reinforced outfits. We have one person with a really good bow. We need to get one more person. It's just the arrows are really expensive, so we're going to have to continue gathering stuff. We also have 101 research points at this point. So one of the bigger things that we need to do next episode is to build an occult research bench and start researching there. However, in the meantime, I do want to spend this 101 points. The most important next thing is brick making. It unlocks spike barricades so that we can basically do a wall around our village. It also unlocks the furnace, which allows us to start making bricks, which are needed for just about everything. So we're going to spend 60 science points here, and then we're going to go back over to the base, and we're going to go on and get cooking, which is 30 points, which unlocks the wheat farm, it unlocks the stove, and it also unlocks bread, which allows us to get into better food production. So I'm going to grab that, and guys, I think this is a great place to leave the episode off. So you know how it works, man. If you like what you see, if you like what you saw, hit the big red subscribe button. If you like this episode and want to see more of this after the 3 episodes of our mini play, sorry guys, I can't seem to talk today, then just like and comment below. So guys, have a great day. Stay safe. Peace out.